How the sun falls. Thanks for that, Devin. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. And let's go to our reporter, Michael Appel now, who has been covering the story for us. He was at the Amcu briefing. Michael, of course, Amcu saying this is not a threat, but a promise.
Yeah, no, they're not bluffing on this one. That was clear from Joseph Matunjwa, the president of Amcu. They're going to forgo any legal procedures here in terms of taking this matter to the Labour Court. They say they don't have money for that, but they are going to flex their muscles in terms of the 70% representation that they have at Impala Platinum's Rustenburg operation there. They say they're not going to be in discussion with any other unions, NUM especially, because NUM doesn't have a footprint there, they say. So it's going to be Amcu that is going to be taking part in these retrenchment consultations with the employer, with Impala Platinum, at some stage quite soon, one would imagine. And they're saying that if that does not go their way, they are threatening industrial shutdown, making sure that no single ounce of platinum comes out of the ground. And on top of that, they have said that there may be a secondary strike. Any company that has any relations with Impala where Amcu has a footprint, they say they're going to shut that down.
And of course, one would wonder then, given these promises of mass action, whether Amcu has any counter proposals for Implats so that it doesn't have to cut those jobs.
Well, I think that's what's going to be discussed in consultations as well. They say that they've been enjoying, as my colleague Michael was saying, the share price, and that they cannot hold workers responsible for the commodity prices, and that they're tired of the workers being exploited at the expense of high bonuses being paid to Implats executives. So they're saying, introduce a new business model, cut your operating costs, and the employer is saying, well, it's simply too expensive. At least 5 of the shafts are unprofitable, so they are burning through cash. I've seen figures of 3.5 billion rand that they're burning through, that they're trying to cut. In a tweet this morning, Implats, or yesterday, Implats saying that 40,000 jobs are at stake if they do not restructure, in inverted commas, cut jobs.
And then government coming under fire as well. The group is saying that government's not doing enough to deal with unemployment in South Africa, and it needs to play a bigger role when it comes to mining in the country.
Yeah, very strong words used by Matunjwa there. Government is manufacturing unemployment. Direct quote from the president of Amcu. They're saying that South Africans are lazy when it comes to innovating, to find other types of jobs and create new industries. Beneficiation especially, saying that if you go study mining at Wits, what do they teach you? How to extract the mineral, not how to beneficiate it. Those are his words. And he says that for every one miner in South Africa, there are 3 families in Europe that are benefiting from that one miner here. He also extrapolated the dependency, saying that for every one miner here, there are at least between 5 and 10 dependents here, saying 130,000 people will be directly impacted by these planned job cuts. And then you can extrapolate that further, saying up to 1 million indirectly will be affected by these job cuts. I asked him for a figure, what the union would deem as a reasonable retrenchment number as they go into these consultations with Impala. And he responded rather interestingly, saying that as a father, if somebody came into your home and asked you which one of your children to slaughter, which one would you choose? That is like saying that there is a reasonable figure. He's made it clear that there is no figure that they deem as reasonable. But I think it'll be preemptive ahead of those consultations what they are willing to accept. But he made it very clear they will never accept 13,000 job cuts in Rustenburg.
And now, Michael, we'll have the consultation happen. When then do we find out when there'll be this mass action?
Well, it's going to be ongoing because they have to get their so-called social labor partners around the table. They have to get the Department of Mineral Resources as well as the Labor Department around the table. NUM will not be privy to those consultations. He's made that clear. They say that NUM is non-existent there. a bit of a swipe at a fellow union. But those consultations, they'll have to wait to get everybody around the table. NUM wants the Amcu wants the DMR and the Labour Department there. So they're saying that this is not going to be a wildcat strike if it goes that way. They're going to go through all the processes, and then they're really going to flex their muscles. As I've said, 70% of the represented workers there are members of Amcu, so they have a lot of muscle to play with here. But Implats saying, well, if we don't go this route, it's 40,000 jobs on the line here.
All right.